Most founders don't realize that the biggest threat to their business is not their team, their offer, or their marketing and sales. It's themselves. As CEOs and business owners, we love to build and tinker and move fast. But if you're anything like me, we are probably a little overwhelmed, under prioritized, and we love running our companies with 47 open tabs in our brain and no shutdown sequence. In this episode of Humans of Growth, we dive into everything from ruthless prioritization and the psychology of working with clients to how founders and business owners can stop being the bottlenecks holding their own growth back. Let's dive in. Today's guest is Kyle Burnett. Kyle is the CEO, chief instigator, magic maker over at Little Taller. Little Taller is not your average marketing agency. Let's set that as the stage. They help companies grow by fixing everything from marketing to sales to customer service systems so that every aspect of the customer experience works faster, works smoother. Think of them kind of as like the smart friend who helps you like get organized, build cool stuff, and get things done. Kyle, welcome to the show.
Why, thank you, Aly, and that is some great way you phrase that. We should probably retain your services to help us sell ourselves.
Absolutely. So, Kyle, I introduced the professional side of you, but in a sentence or two, who are you as a human? What's bringing you joy right now?
I think the professional manifestation is probably, for better or worse, pretty much a replica of what I am outside of the office. There's not a big difference. I have too much hair, too much beard. I swear too much. Don't sleep enough. I work too hard. Focus too much on everything that I'm doing and try to do everything all the time. So there's not a world of separation between the two. I would not say that I'm a workaholic in that fashion, but I'm always doing something. So outside of that, I'm kind of a jack of all trades, interested in everything. So anything that I can especially do away from the computer, I'm very interested in. Anything mechanical, I'll go out and play in the dirt, dig a hole, build a fence, plant a garden, build a garage, build a car, whatever we can go do that's mechanical and interesting and you're in motion and trying to achieve something is very fascinating to me.
So bottom line, how do we build stuff?
I'm sorry, what's the question again?
So basically your life is how do we build things that are fun?
Yes, everything is trying to achieve some goal and it's kind of silly. So, I mean, for example, I wouldn't find a great deal of joy in buying something like a really neat car. I'm like, that's not nearly as fun as I find a beat up rusty old one and then we get to work on it and turn it into something. It's thrift shopping. I mean, that's basically, it's the thrill of the thrift. I like looking at things and seeing where they are and what they could become, and instigating that, with myself and others and saying, what you could do and scheming it forward. So I think I do tend to look at everything and think, wow, that's pretty neat. What could it be? Or what did it used to be? And what could it be again? I think that pretty much might be kind of the catalyst of all of my bad decisions, what to do with my time and energy.
Okay. I love it. What's the coolest thing you've ever built?
Boy, that's a tough one because I spend a lot of time just tinkering and rebuilding things. I mean, my favorite thing that we have around me, I don't know if we have video on the stuff that I like, for example, and how I come by this honestly. This gun hanging up over here behind this picture, unfortunately, you can't see. It was one from like my granddad's shop in East Texas in the 50s that my dad put that back together and took it to school when he was like 6 years old at show and tell or something. I mean, ridiculous old school stories, but I come by it honestly. So the coolest thing that I have that we work on and have built and continue to work on is a 1952 Chevy truck. It was my dad's. He got it when I was 3 years old. I still have it, still tear it apart. In fact, I'm going to be working on it tonight on the radiator and replacing that and trying to get some stuff running before this weekend. So I think that's the coolest thing that I get to work on. The coolest thing that we built will probably be something, it'd probably point to something in the business world with the team, something that we built with the team in the past.
Yeah, I love that. And I think working on a car from the 50s, it's like, oh, those were actually well-built cars compared to the ones nowadays that fall apart after a couple of years.
There's certainly that belief for sure. I know that I like to play with the older stuff. It's more complex the newer it gets. But who knows? Maybe in 20 years we'll be hanging out with some hipster kids rebuilding Teslas and having fun with that. I don't know.
Oh God, I hope not. I hear too many horror stories about Teslas nowadays.
Yeah. But
So
pretty much anything with tools that you can work on, I really enjoy. And to be candid, it's part of that. I think the fun thing of that is you're just figuring things out, and it's just tickling the brain in a way. And also too, it's not really all that hard. It just gets easier every year because there's more tools, more YouTube, more AI that just tell you that basically just backs up my all you got to do is attitude. So I don't know. Maybe the technology has met me where I already was, where I was just full of arrogance and ignorance, and it's just now helped me just be full of arrogance.
yep, I love it. So going towards marketing, growth, sales, everything that's rev ops, growth ops. You had mentioned before we hit record that your secret sauce is speed to value. Tell me what that means.
I mean, you hear this a lot in the business world. We spend a lot of time with, in and around the investment community, lots of startups, so lots of investors, and they definitely want to know that you can move fast. So they'd like to know that you're the right person at the right time to execute this, and that their investment in you will help things move quickly. It is pressure and it is foot on the gas pedal. So I know that from that side of who's paying the bills, what do they want to see and how quickly they want to see it. I know that I can be a very impatient person. so it suits me to just assume that everyone else wants to go quickly, and you need to be methodical in that, and that's what we could go on about that. That's why I have a team to be methodical. Because I am constantly surprised, as is everyone, that everything takes longer and costs more than you think it does to get it done.
Yeah.
But I know that people like to see results. They want things to be taken care of. They come to us anytime we're a service provider. They come to us with call it a problem or an opportunity, but either way, they would like to get the problem taken care of or seize on the opportunity. And the sooner you do that, the sooner they don't have to think about it, and the sooner they can make decisions to move on to the next thing. So I think it's just a way that I view the world myself and view that through everyone else, and why that becomes a focus of what we do is that understanding people want to know how fast they can get things done.
Yeah, I love that. I think it's true in both marketing as well as on the let's build a SaaS product side. Like how fast can we get to an MVP? But also once we have that MVP, how fast can we get up and running to test product market fit? Because it's great to have the MVP, but is there actually the demand for that? And how fast can we test that level of demand to figure out the next iteration of product?
Yep. And that's challenging when, part of why we started Little Taller 8 years ago was because I like the change of scenery. So I like services because new things come in, you get a lot of, change of scenery, but was also to have a team of designers and builders and marketers to explore concepts that we find interesting. And yet we're our own worst client on our own products and on things that we're going to build. I've got one now we're working on. It's a bit of two. It's part-time because we move the resources around when we can. But even then, I'm still my own worst enemy saying, well, why don't we go and take time to do this? Maybe we should do this. Let's rethink this component. And even I'm stalling a little bit on the go find users as fast as possible, get them in there, validate it, blow it up. You don't know anything. You need to move this as fast as possible. So practicing what you preach on your, can be a little bit challenging on your own ventures.
Oh, for sure. But the cobbler's kids also have no shoes. I think that's especially true in marketing agency world more than any other industry, is we spend so much time working on our clients' products, on their services, on marketing for them. We forget our own stuff half the time until we look at it and see, oh shit, I have no pipeline. Back to going to do my marketing. How now it's speed to value for myself.
Oh my God, it's so bad. Yeah, my team unfortunately have to put up with me as the worst client. Yep. I would probably not practice what I preach in every one of those.
Yep, it happens. But I think it also reminds us that we have to give ourselves grace, and then it forces us to be kinder, nicer, and more patient, theoretically, to our clients.
It does. But that's probably points a lot back to prioritization and focus on what you do in the grind. And that's, I think, the other side of speed to value of saying yes and moving quickly is you're kind of always feeling like this urgency to move things along, and, for your clients and even for yourself, and just understanding that, that every system, no matter how efficient, it can only handle so much. And it will never be enough for the personality types that are bigger, better, faster, more. It will never be enough.
Yeah. So when it comes to prioritization, how do you go about helping your clients, and doing this for yourself as well, figure out what's urgent versus what do we need to make a priority, both with building products as well as like the actual marketing and sales enablement?
Boy. I mean, for us, I think, it takes a nice little mix of my team members to keep that in check at all times. And then we're always keeping each other in balance. There's only, the energy balances itself out. So we can, across the board with us as a team, across the things we're trying to deliver on, the balance of what we do for which client when and for ourselves, that just sort of naturally balances out, with everybody trying to be helpful, because one person is losing their mind one day and the next day they're suddenly Captain Cool. I mean, I'll do that. I'm absolutely not making any sense ranting. And then Alex is like, okay. And she, talks me through it all. And then the next day I'm like, Alex, I don't understand why you're losing your mind. All you got to do is I think somehow the team we balance each other out to keep systems moving and to just be agile, because everything changes all the time of what we have to move. When it comes to clients, I think what we're very effective at is helping, and it may sound a little oversimplistic, is you're just building a list and then discussing it and then adjusting things up or down, and it works itself out. And you can help anybody sort of brain dump of all the things they've got to do and write it down and put it in order. It really simplifies it greatly. And it's remarkable that it's not much harder than that. I mean, sure, you might have to dig into some of the things they're asking about, but I think that the simple list building, the straight up to-do list building, I'm surprised at how many people don't have that. They don't really have things organized. That's why we do that. That's why we're visual from day one with clients, of showing them process, writing things down, leading them through that, send them summaries, keeping everything always organized in lists so you can help bubble sort. I think that gives everyone a sense of calm that it's accounted for. Yep. That it's accounted for. It's okay. It gives them an answer to other people around them for the pressures they feel, which leads to the second part of this, which is empathy and understanding and asking why. Again, I can repeat all of that, but I will probably be the worst at practicing it, I'm a selfish piece of shit oftentimes and not the most empathetic, and I'm working on it. But it is understanding why they feel this way, why they ask that. I'm still shocked half the time when I do get someone I do think to ask and then understand. I go, oh, that's why they were asking for that ridiculous thing. Turns out it's not really that ridiculous. It did have some value and it was important for some other people. They just didn't do a good job of explaining what they needed and why. So I think it's the twofold is asking why, who, why, who, all of the why, who, when, where, why, all those things, to really understand what the requests are to help triage and sort them out, then get into the list making and go from there.
Yeah, I think a lot of working with clients is figuring out, why do you think you actually need something? Let's get down to the root, because as CEOs, you and I both experience this. There's so much chaos in our brains 24/7. We go to our assistant, we word vomit, and then we get them to reflect back. Okay, why do we need to do this? Is it actually a priority? Can it be lower on the list?
Yeah.
And then what you said of brain dumping, it's shocking how many CEOs won't sit down and make the list because they think they can have it all in their head. And that's where the chaos comes.
Yeah, and even my own mental stability, what little I have, does come from just making the list. I go, okay, sit down and get organized in whatever fashion. And I've also, can tell you, discovered this with the team, that they've struggled to get me to work in Notion or in some other platform. And I'm like, side note, I absolutely hate Notion. But yep. Because it could be anything. Damn it, I want it to be one thing, a note taker. My God. But I appreciate the struggle they have with going, can you just share your notes with me to help you? And I'm like, no, this is just my notepad where I just write stuff. It's like if I had one on my desk, It's my digital notepad. No, that's my dumping ground for organizing my thoughts. yes, work with me on getting those words out to you to get organized, to to prioritize and execute on. I think that what does help me help clients, and then has eventually helped me practice that to myself, is just that exercise of asking the questions to help get it all out, get it written down, keep repeating it back, and keep sorting it out. And watching someone on my team like Becca or Alex or Giordano, any of them, but like Becca has been really good at that. She's really good with clients and really good with me of saying, okay, calm down here, big guy. Let's go through the list, and then seeing that calm, like, practice and saying, oh, I should practice that with myself.
Yep. I think a lot of times the people who can kind of take the chaos and turn it into clarity, it's like you're a business therapist a lot of the times.
It is. Yeah, we, in the services world, you wear, we have the proverbial wearing a lot of hats, but it is true that you have to be a lot of things. And it's a challenge to be super emotionally intelligent and aware and shift, to how people want to be, communicated to and with, and do all the adjustments that you have to do. Just a little bit can go a long way, though. But the therapist part is very true. It is what is shocking to me after all these years, because of how hard I am on myself and our team, and how much I'm like, oh God, we suck, we're failing, we need to get better. Some days I keep that in check, and some days it comes out. Yep. But as much as that happens, though, what you do start to see when you grind and survive it long enough and get better at the practice is that people buy from people. People eventually become your friends, in whatever fashion. They start to email you from their personal email address. They start to reach out to you about other things going on in their lives, other professional advice, where I thought I was just the humble servant to them. It flips around after a while, and they're like, oh, they come back to you and, and seeking guidance, like actually seeking guidance and help, not just on the business, not on the stuff we're doing to fulfill, but on the life stuff they come around. Like that's a really cool, humble reminder of why we do what we do. Aside from money, we're all there for money. But aside from that, it's like, well, we genuinely like to help people. And sometimes I forget that in services, that they have a problem, we solve it. They need some design, we do it. They need something built, we build it. And I can get a bit transactional in all of that and forget to back it out that they are humans who have needs, and this is just some of their needs. But you really know it's working when those personal needs come back around to you kind of offline. Yeah,
well, and it's about how do we build psychological safety with our clients? Like, how do we make them so that they feel safe enough to brain dump the business stuff to us. They'll brain dump their marketing ideas or their product ideas to us. And then once we develop that level of psychological safety with them, once they feel like they can trust us, that will naturally kind of bleed over to some degree into like their personal lives, our personal lives. And that's when we also have to remember to set boundaries.
Just a little bit. I heard this word boundaries. I don't know what that means.
Yep. I've been there, done that 100 times.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think that fortunately too, though, looking the way I do and kind of being open, and I come by it a bit honestly, people say things to me. They'll tell me stuff. They may stop the recorder. They may look in all directions and lean over to me at the grocery store and say something. But people don't quite know where I fall on the spectrum politically or socially or whatever. And they just kind of go, oh, he's one of us. So I love it. And I'm like, yes, and on all of it. Yes, I too am crazy and believe that. Continue. But I think people do feel pretty comfortable, pretty comfortable in telling me what they're after and confiding it. And Aly, I don't know if you run into this though, but when they don't, it drives me crazy though, because then I'm like, no, I want you to love me. I want you to tell me things. Why? Come on. Yeah. Why is every call only 5 minutes? Why are you so matter of fact? Come on, be my.
Like, come be human with us. It's like, if I'm going to be human with you, you need to come be human with me a little bit too, because at the end of the day, marketing agencies, the people who run them, the people behind them, we're not robots. And so it does get, I think, a little nerve-wracking as an agency owner when you have business owners or whoever your point of contact is, who is very 100% business and no personal life at all, because it can feel a little bit like you're just a vendor rather than a partner.
Yeah. I mean, I like transparency, so I'm okay with people just telling me what they want. I'm kind of okay with mean, I can take a beating. So I can put up with whatever it is they're dishing out. I'm like, this is fine. I'm navigating this one. But it is, you do wish that oftentimes people would be a little bit better balanced perhaps in their approach to it. That some can come on really strong right away and you're like, calm down. I mean, like we are all making this up. This is a video game. Let's be honest. We all are just tuning in and going on these side quests for tokens.
100%. And that's when you remember that you're kind of just all humans at the same day. Or that didn't make any sense. But like we're all humans on a ball of dirt made of space stuff spinning through the universe at how many thousands of miles per hour?
Oh, like you're quoting some Pete Holmes here. He's like, his bit about that. He's like, you think you're American? Zoom out. He's like, you're on a rock floating in infinite nothingness that's getting bigger. Perspective is a really fantastic thing. It's not to say that what we do, it's important. It's good to be passionate about it, but but you do want that balance from everybody else too. Because I would prefer that I'm at 11 and that they, I want to be 1 degree more than them because that's what my job is as the vendor. But so if they come in already, it turned up to 11, I'm like, well, I can't out energy you just yet. You're gonna
not yet. I got to crank it up a little bit.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, with all of the startups, early stage businesses that you've worked with, what do you see as the biggest bottleneck that teams create for themselves?
Well, I think the most natural bottleneck that everyone has is resources. I mean, that's why we exist, and that serves obviously agencies like us and like you and your team and stuff you work with. It serves you well because if you're wide in what you offer to people, they can get a lot out of you and out of your team versus hiring direct. So that always works really great. That that we can be that resource for people that's wide, so that they're like, well, we need some go-to-market strategy or content, some form of that, arts, visuals, design, some development, some business systems assistance, other product consulting and stuff. The wider you are, great that you can give them fractional help in a lot of ways and make it, fairly cohesive experience across that too. That I think is the biggest value to, honestly, you could say startups, but it's anyone. I mean, we have some enterprise clients, large, like multi-billion-dollar corporations. They just have bigger problems. So they have the same problems, just have more of them. They just have more to get done. They have the same problem. They have goals and objectives and deadlines and things they have to hit. And then they're resource conscious and they've got to maximize that across the resources and their skill set. I think that's number one across all of them. What is probably more hyper specific to smaller teams, and maybe that's a younger corporation, maybe that is a startup, is they're not really sure. There's some clarity that they're lacking in one fashion or the other, and they just need confidence. More often than not, you get to play that coach to tell them it's okay, to give them an answer to say, actually, your messaging makes sense that you have. Why would you think it's not? It's fine, move on, or help them adjust it and move on. They want some answers, and they need to be liberated to not spin their wheels and move forward.
Yeah, and that's why I tell a lot of businesses, it's like you can hire a marketing director if you want. But a marketing director can only do so much for you because you're not going to find, there's some exceptions. A marketing director knows everything from branding to web to social to email to PPC to everything else that there is in marketing. And to expect them to do that is unrealistic. And also they're going to get so in the weeds with you that you need someone who's external, who has all of the resources. You have one point person, your account exec, but you have the resources of an entire team. And you're also getting somebody who's from the outside looking in and has a better perspective on your business than most likely than what you even have as a CEO business owner.
Yeah, I think we looked at this a couple of years ago, and we were still very focused on this of having even on our own team.
Hey guys, real quick, this episode is sponsored by Prioritization Network. Prioritization Network is a matchmaking service that connects businesses to marketing agencies that will actually get you results. There's over 50,000 agencies in the United States alone, and picking the right one can feel, pretty impossible. Prioritization Network simplifies the entire process by doing all of the vetting for you. From the initial agency search to interviewing and vetting the top marketing agencies, to getting proposals and helping you with the discovery call, Prioritization Network does it all. This way, you end up partnering with a marketing agency that actually delivers outcomes, not empty promises. If you're ready to stop wasting money on marketing that just doesn't work, visit Prioritizationnetwork.com and get your free agency search started today. That's Prioritizationnetwork.com, PERISSON network.com.
Of having outside mentorship for people and also for the business. Because we just know, I mean, Alex, she called me out on it the other day where I said, here's what I'm thinking for this next wave of stuff. And she says, might I humbly suggest that we get a third-party person to mediate that conversation with us and set that plan? And I'm like, yes, actually, thank you. That's incredibly intelligent of you. She's really good at this. I'm like, that is really smart. Once again, saying, let's get outside perspective at it to come in and just, and tell us, this is good, this is bad, this is go do this, you'll be fine. Just to sign off on it, to give us confidence in some structural change that we want to make.
Yeah, I think that's so crucial. How do you have third parties who are neutral to the situation to some degree? They have a stake in the game in terms of they want to see you succeed, but it's not life or death, so they can be incredibly objective with you. And they don't mind telling you the hard things because they're not really worried about getting fired.
Yeah. And I think it's a fun balance too, being consultants like we are. So I love consultants. I love people trying to build their own thing. I want to help them in that. So, whether that's somebody who's starting cleaning pools, I'm like, cool, come clean the pool. I want to help you do that. I get something out of it, you get something. How can I help you continue to do that? I want ventures to succeed that I benefit from, and especially sole proprietorships, consultants, and so forth. So I'm bought in on that, of also spend the money with them to get them to help. And I'm also eating kind of our own dog food on that one, buying our own story there of trust a consultant, trust the third party, trust them to move it along quickly, give you that see it from the outside, give you the answers, and move it along.
Yeah, 100%. So what is one of the biggest blind spots that you see early stage leaders making consistently?
I'll speak from experience of me, and maybe that applies outwards a little bit. So be a little introspective on this one. I think you've got to have, I think leaders go in one of two ways. They're either sort of accidentally fell into it. They knew the space, they were a builder of something, and then they sort of like, well, now they're not confident, or they're like me, they're, got that white man overconfidence. I can do anything. You want me to wrestle a bear? It sounds good. That we've got too much confidence. I think it tends to be one of those two problems tend to exist in founders. And I think it's different by gender too, very much so. And for me, I think it's the confidence, what you need, the confidence to go and do anything, just to start and launch, but that can only get you so far. And I think that they, myself, and I'm definitely speaking myself too, is at some point they have to know where their limits are and when to just shut the hell up and get out of the way and let other people do things. And it's this play within a play that's happening is fantastic, because my team might, eventually you empower them to say, you have no lines in this play, get on out of here, take it and run with it. And when that works, I'm happy. And I see things where I'm like, wow, y'all built that, y'all did that, amazing. And it would not have happened had I stayed in the way. And I've watched other people that I've worked, other leaders who I just absolutely respect and adore. But when I worked for them, we were all like, would you please just get the hell out of the room and let us go get this done? We know what we need to get done. It's fine. We got this. Go. To only watch them go to work for somebody else and have that same problem. The irony, like we all run into that of, I've got this, get out of here. But there is, we say it all the time in the business world. They're always saying, hire smart people and get out of the way and let them do that. That I think is truly still the problem, regardless of what the people that are bringing you into work say. They will repeat those little things. I will repeat that, but I still won't practice it. They won't practice it either. I think that is probably one of the bigger mistakes they make, is giving up the control of things fast and being okay with I'll say the second phase of that, being okay with how it turns out and not ascribing their own like metrics of success to it. You have to be a lot more loose than you think.
Yeah, I love it. So right now, the world is a little bit on fire, especially here in the United States.
Where's that?
I know, right? Right? I wish.
Pull up a website. What did I miss?
I know. And a lot of businesses are in survival mode. What do you do? What's the advice when you feel like you as a business, especially with startups right now, when you're kind of not stuck, but you're in survival mode?
Man, I don't know. Aren't we always in survival mode? It's never enough. I think that's, I think I can offer two thoughts on that one, which is sometimes it's true. You were grinding and you're living paycheck to paycheck. You're living invoice to invoice, and that's gone on for so long that you don't remember the time when it wasn't that way, and you don't see the time when it won't be that way. I mean, I think there's that level of just barely getting by, and you don't really know if that really is the time at which you've got to quit, stop, pivot, do something else. But I do know that zooming out, we talk about this a lot. I've got a friend that we text each other every now and then, just zoom out, bud, for no reason other than just this gentle reminder of you're grinding at all times. And when you are working that hard and you are looking down, you do oftentimes feel like things are not going as well as they are. You don't know how far you've come. You don't realize how good it really is. You're lacking perspective when you're staring down. And so the head up and then zooming back out is a good thing. Because I can tell you that in the 8 years of this, of Little Taller now, going on the 8th year, I have legitimately quit 3 times. There's 3 times that I was like, fuck this. I've had enough. And I just generally walked in to the kitchen and said to my wife, I was like, I'm out, man. I'm done, and then it was sort of like a zoom out, think about it and go, how did we get here? What's working? What's not working? Adjust, pivot, and keep going. And each one of those times we've done that, it's gotten better. Now we just do it quarterly or annually, zoom out, adjust, and keep going to figure out, when too much is, when it's not enough. Because there's no way to apply all of the other stories you hear of people's success or failure. There's not. It's different. Everyone's different. Every journey is different. But I do know that that's been very effective for us to continually just, before it gets too bad or even when it is too bad, zoom out, back up, and then figure out how bad is it really, what needs to be adjusted, and, adjust and go.
Yeah, I think as business leaders, we can't see the forest for the trees, and we forget, hey, look up, stop looking at your feet, look up, see where you want to go, and then go look behind you and see all that you've accomplished.
Yeah. There's a couple. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, and I think with CEOs, to some degree, they set the vision for the company, but they often forget to celebrate how far they've come.
Yeah, we're the worst at that. Yeah, we're it's a given. I give a couple of analogies. There was a business speaker I heard years ago who talked about being into race cars and about the phrase of driving off the hood. Are you staring down into the corner, you're going to wreck, or are you staring down the track, you already understand that corner and you're already on to the next thing. And so I think it's hard to then celebrate that cool turn you just took, when you're like, no, I'm already down the track. It was a given. I know, having done ridiculous things in my life, long distance triathlon, like Ironman, is that grind is it's such a given that it's impossible for me to celebrate the things along the way, because some days you are heads down just grinding on the pavement, and some days, but your head's up looking at the distance and you're spooked by how far you have to go, or you're too concerned about how much your feet hurt by staring down. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Both of those happen. But either way, I'm already assuming that whatever we're going to do, well, I'm assuming it's going to be successful, because but deep down inside, I'm like, none of this is ever going to work. This is all bullshit. It's all going to fall apart. But one way or the other, I'm like, it's hard to really appreciate it without zooming out and forcefully making yourself account for where you are, what you said you were going to do, how far you've got, how things are working, adjusting. If you don't stop and do that accounting for it, you won't, because you are already onto the 100th thing down the road.
Yep. And I think if you're not taking the time to intentionally stop and look at where you are, where you've been, where you're going on a most likely quarterly, semi-annual basis, as a business leader, you're probably going to get depressed. and you're going to shut down.
Yeah, and then you're gonna have to go find a counselor or therapist to help coach you through it. But we'll do this throughout the day. Find another party to do this to. We talk out loud to each other. We just read it. I'm like, hey, you got a minute? And we get someone to call. You go, and just because you need to say out loud your list and whatever is going on. And I can't tell you, and Aly, you've probably seen this where somebody's like, man, I really need to talk. And you go, oh God, I mean, like, do I have to listen and then offer sage advice? You sit there, you're drinking your wine while they're just spilling, and then they hug you and they go, this was great, thanks. And you're like, I got a buzz on and I didn't say anything, so I don't know how I helped you. We do that all day long to each other with, in these, like micro help throughout the day of the list of where are we, what's going on, what do you need to get through, what do you need to clear out to lighten the load today, feel better, or appreciate how far you got through today or this week or this month, this quarter, this year, whatever the period is.
Yep. And I think that's why it's so important that CEOs, business leaders have colleagues that they can turn to in those situations, because it can be lonely at the top.
It is. And, you wind up having this weird, it's hard for me to consume the news because it's not actionable anyways. Yep. It's like depending on, and I try to look at all sources to go balance it out to go, well, who's saying what about whatever's going on? But nonetheless, it's not actionable. I mean, something sad happens to a puppy or a kid or an entire country. I'm like, what am I supposed to do? So it's like, it's so not actionable. But one of the things, watching what does help in the perspective is I do try to see where things are trending for humans as a whole, where it's trending for the economy as a whole, where it's trending for companies as a whole, to provide perspective to me. Not that someone won the lottery, not that their company hit $1 billion in valuation, not that they got funding, got a raise, got a new car, whatever. Not even. I mean, those successes are neat, but interestingly enough, that the state of other people's stuff, the only good that comes out of that is I go, there for the grace of God. It's like, well, that's really working out. I'm doing just fine, thank you. As Dave Ramsey says, better than I deserve. And, that is the case, because it's also really interesting listening to other leaders and people go, but it's lonely at the top. It's hard being a celebrity. No one wants to hear that shit. Like
nobody cares because to some degree it's like, well, you're the CEO, you're the one at the top of the ladder. I'm still 3 rings down.
Yeah, it's true. It's like, yeah, I've got more money than you, and I'm older, so I've got, yes, I've got all. If you whatever metric you're looking at, you go, well, yeah, you got all this stuff. Yeah, I got more problems too, but I can't say that. I don't know. My life's pretty stupid simple. So, but I appreciate that in the of like. Again, that the zoom out provides that. It provides that context of where you are. But having somebody to go to is great. I mean, I think that was a great premise of The Sopranos, right? That like even a mob boss is like, I need a therapist. This is stressful.
Yes, absolutely. So looking back with all the clients that you've worked with, if you could give one piece of advice to early stage grinders, what would you tell them?
Oh boy. Be agile in what you define as success or failure. First of all, I'm sorry?
Walk me through that a little bit.
So we all have these like preconceived notions of what something's going to look like when we get there, whether that's whether that's a vacation, you're like, oh, and the grass is greener kind of stuff. But let's say a vacation, you're like, oh, it's going to be great. I'm going to get on this plane. It's going to be, get the first drink. Life will be, this whole vacation will work out great. No, you got to be pretty agile with that. Things are going to go kind of weird and wrong. You're going to spend more money than you thought and mess up your budget. Expensive dinner at someplace won't be what you think. So, that level of expectations can breed disappointment. And so being agile in what it is that you're trying to accomplish and how you're going to get there is really, really important. It just is. So when I said like, oh, I want to start this agency and grab some students and teach and do some stuff, little did I know that would make me not want to teach anymore because I'm doing this all day long. Little did that know it actually make me more of an asshole in person to people, even though I can be, but it would challenge me. It would be universe and God giving me the opportunity to practice patience and be a better person than I really am. I didn't know how all these other things that would come along with it, but I had this grand plan of like, this is going to be great. This is what we're going to go do. In theory, zoom out, a bunch of the check boxes were there, but how we got there, no. And then me forcing the path every time, you got to go do this, did not really work out. So I like to say that I create opportunities, not paths. And I remind myself of that. If I'm creating the opportunity for something to come out of all of this, how we get it there and what exactly that looks like, I need to be a little bit loose on, or I may not enjoy the journey, and I may not enjoy the outcome.
Yeah, I think that's important for business owners to remember, that it's like hold everything with an open hand, because if you cling too tightly to what your definition, which is going to be warped, of success looks like, the journey is going to be 10 times harder and 10 times less enjoyable.
It's true. And I think that the follow-on advice for that, they always say in the business world, like, hire for certain things. It's just dumb luck that I've got to hear with some people on my team who are so gifted at so many things that it's not that I have to give up control. It's like whether they wrestle it or take it, or it just works itself out. I'm like, it became very real to me of what you are trying to do, and choosing the people you partner with, choosing the people that you work with, providing the opportunity, the guidance, the best that you can, or getting out of the way, and seeing that work. I know that when we've worked with the team to try to be structured and set just the vision of a direction of what we want to do, and then let them provide feedback and shape it and execute on it, that it works out so much better and more interesting when they've shaped it, planned it, done it, put it together. I could never tell them the best way to build the processes to achieve what they achieve. I couldn't. I can make up the answer if they know zero. Sure, I could be like, my wife was like, what do you do? I don't understand it. I could be like, fine, here, let me teach you how to project manage. That's not real. I know the theory of some of it, and I can kind of point to some of it, but not like Becca or Jordana or the team who can really run things. Like, that's just the way their mind works. And if I didn't get out of the way in the right amount of time, I should have gotten out of the way sooner. But if I got out of the way and let them run with it, it was great. So my vision perhaps of what successful project management should look like, if I had written that too rigidly, the outcome would be different, and I would probably be disappointed. I can tell you, working on our own branding and own things, I'm in the way of our own good branding of things, because I'm like, no, I need it to be balanced like this, and here's what I think and what I'm trying to get. And they're like, oh shit. And then they're trying to extract from my insanity like something to deliver on. It's not a comfortable environment for the best outcome. I mean, because I'm clinging too closely. I'm clinging to, use your hand. I'm like, it's not open-handed, it's closed. I'm trying to get them to deliver exactly what I want.
Yep. Oh, 100%. And you see that all the time with business owners, and it can be one of their biggest bottlenecks that they have.
Yeah. And, and knowing too that you do see that sometimes with clients, but I mean, somehow I think it tends to work out better with our clients than it does here. But I don't know, it's that if you've had that, Aly, or your clients have had that moment where you show up and you present something on screen, whether it was something visual, a design or a plan or a strategy or the results of a strategy, and they go, oh my God, this is so much better than I could have possibly imagined. Mm-hmm. Like they do say that. That's the feeling that I honestly want out of all of this. That's a bit of the dopamine hit that I'm chasing, is that the outcome of what people do is so good. That's why I'm like so hard on the team, or I'm so like, I know what, as Alex likes to say, that we know what their ability to achieve is. We know what they're capable of. If like a coach, like some, hard ass coach who just really wants to get on them, like, but we have to adjust for that, but we just really want to like, I know that they can do great stuff. And so I want that feeling at all times to just be amazed and go, wow, holy shit, you guys, you did this. And I want the clients to say that, like, there's no better feeling. I wouldn't think that I was a words of encouragement guy. I don't necessarily think I am, and the love language is there, but I just want that understanding. I want that feeling. I want the acknowledgement of asked for this, got something even better than what you thought, and that just that you outperformed it. That is really, really, really gratifying.
Yeah, I love it. So Kyle, what is the one question you wish I had asked you and I haven't asked you yet?
Boy, I don't know. Okay, I'll just make up one though.
Great, love it.
I'll just put me on the spot then. It's like, what's the one thing that I'm still doing that's preventing success and growth?
And what's the answer to that?
Being decisive.
Okay, tell me more.
So I think that there's this fun place in which, you want to bring people in on your team, consult with them, give them a lot of knowledge, team, clients, everything else, is that I'm collaborative. I like to be collaborative, and I like to work on things together. I like to just bullshit and workshop stuff and come up as a team with cool solutions. Community is more interesting to me. I don't want to sit in a basement and vibe code something and make $1 billion. That sounds horrible. The $1 billion sounds okay, but it sounds horrible. I want that, and I'm still failing at this, whether at home or with other people on the team, of going, let me give you all this information and all of these things from which you can extract that and then somehow give me back knowledge, give me back a path, give me back guidance. I'm overwhelming, and I'm still trying to navigate that, of how to provide just enough information to get anything back in a good way, or just be decisive on my own, where I don't necessarily, but in a positive way, not as in fuck, I've had enough of this, I'm making a decision, but being decisive in a positive way, or knowing that just seeking a bunch of guidance for people who really aren't there for it yet, ready for it or whatever. And whether, again, clients at home or in the office, either way.
Cool. I love it. So Kyle, thank you so much for coming on the show today. If people want to connect with you further, what's the best way for them to find you?
littletaller.com is the website, of course. You can find it there. And of course, find us on LinkedIn, find me on LinkedIn, our professional app out there that we're all on, pretending to be clean, shiny professionals. But on LinkedIn at all times, that's always up, trying to connect with people. Down to connect on any topic, anytime, with anybody.
Awesome. For everyone tuning in today, thank you so much for joining, and we will catch you on the next episode of Humans of Growth.